Hey guys, I hope you're having a great week. I'm just finishing editing this week's show, and I just want to put a note at the front of this that this is a very long podcast. It's about an hour, and I thought about breaking it up into two separate parts, but I decided I think it's better as one chunk and talking about friends in our lives, supportive friends and non supportive friends. So it's all in one chunk, and with the way I listen to podcasts, if it's a big podcast or if it's got a lot of information in it or it's long, I just listen to it in bits and pieces throughout my day or over the week or whatever as I can. So don't feel like you have to sit and listen to this entire podcast. But, if you are dealing with friend issues or, wondering if maybe someone in your life might maybe be toxic or someone that you shouldn't have in your life, or if you just dealt with maybe some friendship falling out or something like that, this is going to be a good podcast for you to sort of just take in and listen to because I kind of go over all of it, all aspects of it. And I really hope you get something out of this. And really, the friends and people in our lives and whether or not they support us is such a huge part of us pursuing what really makes us happy. And if we're pursuing our dreams, we're pursuing something that we believe really makes us happy. And the people in our lives who love us, they should want us to be happy. And they should want to support whatever that is for us to go on that journey. And there's different levels of that support. There's just like being really happy that you're happy. That's the lowest level, and just being really respectful of you and your journey, all the way up to fully being enthused about what you're doing. And they don't have to be enthused about the specifics, but just a basic respect is really important. And sometimes it's hard to see when they're maybe subtly not supportive because we're used to kind of pushing things down like, well, maybe you're not, but I am. Okay. So this is a doozy. So take your time on this one and maybe revisit it as you can. Or if you want to listen to it all in one pop, then that's fine too. But I did just want to say, hey, hi, I'm aware of the fact that this is a big monster. Last week's was a big one too, the call to adventure. That was a long one. I usually don't like to do long ones back to back, but although it might be my new thing, I really don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. But I did get a lot of really positive feedback for last week's episode. And so I'm just trying to go with that as well. So I don't know, but give it a shot. If you're going through some friend stuff, check it out. If you're not going through friend stuff and you're really busy, blow it off. And then later on, when something happens, come back and listen to it. All right, guys, let's get on with it. You are listening to the I Have Dreams Dammit podcast, a podcast about the realities of pursuing our dreams. I'm your host, Lisa Murray, and let's get started.
Live from Los Angeles, California, this is the Lisa Murray Show, and with your host, Lisa Murray.
The day I felt like I really started living.
I don't have enough money to start this business.
I'm so tired. I hate it. I'm working all the time.
I'm not inspired when I'm worried about money.
Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all.
I'm so sick of all these positive people talking about dreams. What about money? Like, how am I supposed to get the money?
What it's really about, it's about you pursuing what makes you come alive. It's about continually connecting with that energy and just keep doing that. Keep going towards that. That's what it's about. I need to give up. There's too many obstacles. I can't take this shit anymore. Ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are built for.
It feels really good to be my own boss.
I have dreams, damn it! Hi guys, it's Lisa, and welcome to the I Have Dreams Dammit podcast. Today's podcast is all about the friends and family and people in our lives and whether they are helping create a supportive environment or they're helping create a toxic environment. Because we kind of need to look around at the environment before we plant the seeds. We need to make sure the soil has really good nutrients in it and not a bunch of toxic waste, right? All right, let's get on with it. How can I talk about going for your dreams without talking about the people in our lives? I mean, they're absolutely, completely interwoven into the entire situation. And the first thing I want to say is, especially if it's new, if your dream, you've not really talked very much about it with anybody, be very mindful of who you talk to about it. Because any negativity, everything is energy, and any negativity or weirdness or some stupid comment or whatever can really negatively affect how you feel about what you're doing. So you need to be very careful and guard it. Be very guarding. That doesn't mean you shouldn't talk to people about it. Of course, you need to talk to people about it because we need people in our lives. We need support. We need to have it live outside of us. So I'm just saying at certain points in the very beginning, just be mindful. Don't just be all excited, like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm going to be a swimsuit model. And you're like telling everybody everywhere you go because not everybody's going to be happy for you. And some people are going to say some snide remarks. And eventually, when you're kind of off of your high, you're going to really be like, why did I tell everybody that? So just work on it. Put all your energy into working on the thing that you want. And if you need support or if you feel like someone's safe, then you can start talking to that person. We need each other. We need friends. We need family. We need help. We need to give to others. We need to receive from others. Like being with people, it's such an integral part of every single thing that we do. And especially when you're going for your dreams, it's very, very important. But it's also an area of a lot of strife because as we grow, we change our dynamics of all of our relationships. Because as once you start being truthful with yourself and you start saying, this is what, I've always wanted to be a singer. I don't want to do real estate. I really want to sing. And you start to feel that you're living in truth. You're living with integrity. You're like, I'm finally doing that thing that I always wanted to do. And everything's energy. So it's like a vibrational thing. So you're now like, I am in the right vibration for me. I am doing that thing that I always wanted to do. It's that vibration that's inside of me. I'm now honoring that on the outside. And so everything we do is energy and all of our relationships are energy. So if our vibration starts to change, that's going to be like a rock in a pond. And it's going to create all these ripples, and the ripples are going to touch our family and friends. So, or any relationship we have, casual, intense, whatever the level is. And sometimes it just makes people uncomfortable because it's change and people don't like change usually. So sometimes your friends can just have a weird reaction or your family because it's just like different all of a sudden. They're like, what's this? I remember when my best friend Jerry, the whole time I knew him, he spelled his name with a J. And all of a sudden one day I saw it was a G and I go, what's this? And he didn't even tell me. It's just G. And he goes, that's actually how you're supposed to spell my name. And I remember being like mad when it sounds so stupid, but I was like actually mad. Like, just leave it alone. Like, it's J. Like, who cares? But holy shit, he can have whatever way he wants. He could spell it with an X if he wants to. I mean, that's not for me to say, and I'm even supportive of people's dreams and stuff. So if I felt stupid about the changing of a letter in your name, which was actually the proper spelling of his name, because his name is Gerardo and it's with a G. But if I felt weird about it, then imagine how people who don't really support dreams, don't really support people being truthful with themselves in general, and you're doing something big, like really life-changing, like following your dreams or manifesting your dreams. So it is a fact that the people in your life will have some type of reaction. Though they may be very, very happy for you. Like, God, you seem really happy. If there's anything I can do to help you, I'm here for you. And, you're really inspiring me. I just want you to know that that exists too. I don't want to make it sound like it's all negative, but it's just there's going to be a lot of change. The other thing is if if you're friends with someone for a long time and they only know you as a realtor and then you start singing, they don't know you as a singer. They're friends with the realtor. And once you let go of the realtor part of yourself and you're singing, you're going to see like there's some people that are like, oh, you're not you anymore. And I don't know what's going on, but it's just, I guess they think they're helping or something, but I think it's very manipulative. But anyway, so if you have to really check in with yourself, and this is why journaling is really good, because even really good people in our life sometimes will have weaknesses and not be coming from the best possible place just because they're challenged or whatever. And once you go on this journey, you're so far out of your comfort zone and you're so vulnerable that you need something that grounds you. And so like meditation or journaling or anything that kind of brings you back to yourself and to your own inner wisdom or to your higher self or whatever it is that you connect to, that's becomes more and more important the more you go down this journey. Whatever it is that grounds you and makes you know that everything's okay and you're a good person and you're on the right path. whatever lets you know that. But it's not dependent on a person, because I think people are always changing and there's always things going on. And I think we need to each find things for ourselves that help us stay in touch with that, so that we don't put so much pressure on our relationships. Because that's a lot of pressure anyways. If we're like, okay, so you need to be the one that like grounds me. It's just like, that's not fair for a relationship. Maybe, I mean, sometimes like going out to dinner with one of your good friends so you can just vent about all the stuff going on. I'm not saying that's not there, and it's not like, having a best friend that you can talk to about everything. That's great. But you have to have yourself as your number one thing, especially when you're on this journey for your dreams, because no one's going to understand this more than you, and you're not even going to completely understand it. So if they don't really like the singer you, that's, that's maybe your relationship's going to end with that person. And that's going to really be hurtful. And I mean, especially as we get older, we have less tolerance for stuff. And we're just not as like, we have an understanding of life that we're like, if it's meant to be, it'll be in my life. I don't need to force it. There's all those kinds of things that you learn as you get older. So just by the very nature of life, most of us have relationships that fall out, and it's okay. Like an old branch falling off of a tree. It's okay. It doesn't kill the tree. The tree is changing. The person is changing. It just hurts sometimes, especially if you're confused by it. You didn't see the writing on the wall, or you really miss them, or there was some chaos or negativity connected to the fallout. I mean, of course, I'm not saying it's not going to hurt. It feels disorienting because you're like, I didn't know this was a thing, and I was really dependent upon, and you realize how dependent you were on that person when they go away. And that's the same with when they die. You really understand how much they were your Jenga piece. And you really notice it when they die. You think you notice it when you stop becoming friends with them, but you really notice it when they die. But anyways, you need to let go, because if you put all your energy into keeping a friendship, and especially if the friendship hasn't made you happy in a long time and you feel like you're growing apart from the person, or you feel like they're being very abusive about how they handle you and the changes that you're going through, and that you're happier, maybe they're threatened by that, or they just don't understand it. They don't like you. They don't really like who you are for whatever reason. Whatever. It doesn't have to be some deep whatever reason. It can just be petty and weird, but it doesn't matter. If you know that the relationship should not continue and you're not going to fight for it, then you need to let it go. You need to like really focus on yourself, because if you put all your energy into trying to save those kinds of friendships, you lose your soul. And if you lose your soul, you lose your connection to the truth inside of you. And if you lose that, you lose your way with your dream, because your dream exists inside of the truth of you. And so the more, you're putting into those friendships and those relationships, the less you're putting into yourself. And I'm not saying a friendship that's worth salvaging or worth fighting for. That's different. If you believe that there's something good that can come of this, and it's just a misunderstanding or growing pains or something like that, by all means, fight for it. I completely think that you should try to fight for friendships completely. I'm just turning the corner right now in my life where I've noticed the relationships that I really have to put lots of energy into, for me, are usually the ones that aren't healthy for me. And when I was younger, I felt like all relationships required a lot of energy, and maybe they did because I was learning. But as I'm getting older, I'm seeing that there's sort of like an energetic pattern that I recognize, and I feel it, and I go, this feels like something that requires a lot of maintenance, that the person doesn't give me the benefit of the doubt. They always jump from thinking something basic to totally thinking something massively negative about me. Like not talking to me, not bringing a problem to me. Instead, maybe they talk behind my back. Um, and then it all blows up, and then there's all this stuff that has to happen. It's kind of like, it's confusing. It's like, why is all this happening? So I like people in my life who take care of themselves emotionally. So if I've done something, or if they've interpreted something that I've done that was hurtful to them, that they give me that benefit of the doubt. That's why I'm their friend. Otherwise, I'm just some stranger. But I mean, hopefully, they give me the benefit of the doubt and they talk to me and they value the relationship enough and they value themselves enough to talk to me and let me know, give me a chance to either say, I'm sorry, or, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that, or, or, well, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. That's not the way I see it. So, whatever. If that person doesn't even give you a chance, I don't want to fight for that relationship. Like they say, if you ever want to know who's fighting for your relationship, let go and you'll see who's still holding on. Because a lot of times when I let go, I realize the whole friendship falls apart. And it's because I was the only one holding on. I was the only one putting energy into it. And it's like, this cannot continue like this. This is crazy. And this is so important because this is connected to a dream, because I'm telling you, the more I start to do stuff that I love, people fall out of my life. Certain people start to just fall out, but new ones come in. And that's the good thing. And sometimes there's an abyss between the ones falling out and the new ones coming in. You just have to believe. You just have to hold on and trust. But people can really knock us off of our path, and you cannot let them. You can't let anybody that has any kind of weird energy. Derek used to tell me, Derek is the one who died, who's on the bulletin board with Zimba on the podcast art. I took that picture in Winnetka, Illinois at my grandmother's house of Zimba and Derek. But Derek used to tell me, if you feel yucky when you leave after spending time with someone, I can't remember how he used to say it, but it was basically like, pay attention to that, because there's a truth in that. And I used to push a lot of stuff down, just like being nice and always wanting to get along with everybody. And I repressed a lot of stuff. If I felt yucky energy, I'd push it down because I wanted everything to be pleasant. And I realized pushing it down doesn't help this situation. It just prolongs my realization of the truth of that situation. Or it delays it. I shouldn't say it prolongs it. It delays it. And, it's really, God, it's so hurtful. It's just, we need to protect our energy as we go for our dreams. We really have to protect our energy, because you start to see that everything is connected. This is what I'm trying to say. Everything is connected, and you can't compartmentalize your life anymore because it's all connected. Like, you can't be living the truth in one area of your life and then completely living a lie or repressing things or whatever in the other area of your life. It'll wreak havoc on the whole thing. Either the truthful part of you will break through to the other side, or the deceptive side of you will start to smash out your connection to the truth. And you'll have to put so much more extra energy into everything that you do, because you're constantly cleaning up, fixing, adjusting, instead of just being. Really, if you're talking to another high vibration person, you're going to learn so much more as you're increasing your vibration in life. Like, if I'm out there and I'm like, living my dream and I'm making things happen and I'm manifesting things and all this stuff, and then I go spend time with someone who blames everything on that happens in their life on bad luck, it's very difficult to be around that. And after a long period of time, because I actually don't believe in that. I don't believe in a person just has lifelong bad luck. I don't even believe in that. And even if you do, I feel like it's our responsibility to try to work on that and not spread that, because I'm really, ever since everybody died, but even before then, I've kind of always been about gratitude. And I remember from like a pretty young age thinking, like, before I went to bed, I would kind of say, thank you, God, for me not being wrongfully imprisoned. Like, what the hell is that? I think that's from like a past life, but I feel like I know what it's like to have your entire life taken away from you. I mean, can you imagine that? Your entire life, for something you did not do and you're in prison. You get life in prison and that's it. You have to deal with people beating you up. You have to deal with gross food. You have to deal with gross clothes, uncomfortable bed, no sleep, like for the rest of your life. And you didn't do anything. And some people live their entire lives like that. Um, if you're not wrongfully imprisoned and you're free, you're awesome. And you should really like be in touch with that and think about that. Also, another one I would say is like bombs dropped on the roof. Those are the two that I always thought of. And I don't know why. It just makes me believe in reincarnation because I mean, I thought about that stuff before I went to bed. I was like, because imagine, I mean, some people can't imagine it that are listening to this, but just imagine, most of us can't. Bombs dropping in your town, in your village, your favorite cafe bombed, all your favorite places, parks and everything is just run over by landmines and military trucks. Like, most people in America don't know what it's like to have a war happen in your neighborhood. But people in Europe and other places of the world, they know what it's like. And I feel like I'm so grateful that we don't have that. And sometimes you need that gratitude to reconnect. And I think that as you live, and I believe we have multiple lives. So as we live multiple lives and each lifetime we experience something, we bring that new wisdom into each new life. And it also shows itself as gratitude. Because have you ever been around someone that's not grateful of anything good that happens for them? Like they're suspicious of good things, but then they put bad things on a pedestal. Like, see, look, there's that bad thing. And they put it on a pedestal and they feed it and they water it and they look at it and go, see, there it is. There's that bad thing. I told you. But then all these good things are all around them. They don't even see that. They neglect those things. Those things are like starving to death. They're all coming to the person and they don't even care about that. Maybe is it because they haven't had enough lifetimes where they really realize how much they have? Or is it, I don't know. I really don't know what it is. Maybe they're trying to be in control. So if they can put the bad time on a pedestal, they can kind of keep their eye on it or something. I don't really understand it. I've never really been a constantly pessimistic person. I've gone through negative times where I feel negative and I view things through a negative lens. But in general, I'm a positive person and I always have been. I'm very grateful for things. I'm grateful for friends. I'm grateful for experiences. I'm grateful. I mean, I'm grateful. I'm like a grateful person. That's why it was kind of hard to like, after Michael and Derek died, it was hard for me to be grateful because I was like, I can't be grateful for this. And it threw me, it was like a chameleon dropped on plague because I was like, I always take bad shit that happens to me and find the lesson in it or the silver lining or something. And this is the one thing that I really I couldn't do that with. And I didn't even know who I was. I had no, like my whole identity was blown up and that's the other thing. So think about if I met a person during a time when my identity was blown up, I don't know what I'm connecting with them on. So as I start to come together and I'm more, starting to manifest my happy life and my dreams and things that feel good, they resonate with what's inside of me. That relationship is either going to survive because it's growing and changing and evolving as I am, or if it's stagnant, if the person doesn't want to grow or change, or if they're growing and changing in a different direction or whatever, the relationship is not going to stay together. And if maybe it will in some weird, sick way because we'll be dysfunctional together and we'll just keep putting energy into it. But if we really love ourselves enough and we have confidence in ourselves, we will let the relationship go. And without hating the person and without needing to make them the bad guy and all that kind of stuff. And I know that that's easier said than done. And I know that it's a lot harder when you've been wronged and stuff like that. And I get that. Believe me, more than you know, I get that. But it is really important that we let those relationships go and we try not to hate the person and we try not to lash out at them. And I get totally challenged when someone's lashing out at me. It makes you want to like lash back out. You're like, wait, what? Hold my gold. I totally, because I mean, I don't want to feed that energy because that affects other areas of my life. And I don't want to feed that energy. I don't want to give to like the feeling of fear and lack and hate and chaos. And, if someone was my friend that means I love them at some point. If we can't be around each other anymore, it's because it's not working for us, but that doesn't mean the person's bad. We hold on to stuff into where we get to the point where we hate the person. And then that's when everything gets really messy and crazy and awful. Or if someone is really not owning their own stuff and they're projecting or deflecting or whatever, that's another way that it can get very chaotic and very messy and very, I don't know, kind of like mean and hate filled and stuff like that. And it doesn't really have to go there. Um, there's a lot of forgiveness that should happen. There's a lot of gratitude. And I think the more we live, the more we are able to forgive because I think we're able to see that we're all human. And I am much more forgiving today than I used to be because I think I used to think like I was so great and I was so good to people. And how could someone do that to me? And now I realize that we all do stuff. I've done so many things, especially during the time that Derek and Michael died, but there's been other times too, but definitely during the worst of my grief, I did stuff that I'm not proud of. I said things to people or lashed out or something, and I'm not proud of that. And I realized, like, I'm human and it's going to happen. I'm going to disappoint myself sometimes. I'm going to do things that I'm like, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? Or whatever. But I forgive myself because I love myself and I'm proud of myself for all the things I've made it through. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to even learn and grow and change. When we're denying our own humanness and we're um, just sort of being harsh on ourselves, then it's harder for us to forgive people because we feel like we start to project everything out. So once I'm more truthful with myself and then I own my part and stuff, I can definitely, it's a natural thing that I can just be more forgiving. It's just natural. But back to the dreams and how people pertain to that. Imagine having a group of friends that you can talk to about your dream and that they get excited about it. And they get like, yeah, yeah. And you know what I always wanted to do? Oh, you know who we should call? Or you know what you should do? Oh my God. I have a friend that does, videos for YouTube, and we should film videos of you singing your songs or talking about why you wrote the song. Like they're going to come up with ideas that are going to raise your vibration, and that's going to take you on the journey even further, right? But let's say you're having a conversation about wanting to be a singer with someone who's not evolved or not supportive. They're going to be like, probably just staring at you like, what does this have to do with me? Or why, who cares? Good luck, whatever. And so you're going to be like, yeah, I always wanted to sing. And I sang when I was in grade school, and then I just completely blew it off in high school. And then I got busy with job and kids or whatever. And I realized I really just really like singing, and I want to give it another shot. I want to like put some songs together and just put them out. You can release songs now on the internet. You don't have to be a certain age now to realize your dreams. I mean, you can be self-distributed. You can put your own movies out. You can put your own songs out. You can do so many things. So let's say you're with a person and you're like, yeah, I want to sing. I want to sing. I want to put this demo together. And they're like, well, who would buy it? And you're like, well, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can put it like on iTunes and I can put it for sale. Yeah, but how would they find you? And you're like, oh, I don't know. I guess I would have to do like some work, maybe, do some marketing or PR on Facebook, or I'm not sure. I'll figure it out. And they're like, oh, because I think it's probably going to be pretty hard. And I don't know. I mean, there's so many artists on there. It's like, do you see how your energy just drops and you're just thinking like, ew? But it's not even like they're like an iTunes expert or like a independent music manager. Like they're just some person that all their only job is to be supportive of you. They're not a music industry expert. They're just your friend, and they can't even like be supportive. And it's just weird. So pay attention to that kind of stuff. Just, you know what? You don't even have to pay attention to behavior. Pay attention to how you feel. Pay attention to how you feel when you talk to them about something that really means a lot to you, something that you've always wanted to do, or something that you're doing that you really love. And when you're sharing that with them, pay attention to how you feel, the way they look at you, the way they talk to you, what they say, what they don't say, just the vibe. because that is affecting you. It's, you should not have to compartmentalize your life and be like, okay, that's my weird friend Ricky. Ricky is really weird, but Ricky's fun. So I'm going to just put Ricky over there. And you'll be able to do that for a while, but eventually you're going to have to really have a come to Jesus with who Ricky is for you, because it's going to bring you down. Like every single time something good happens, this person cannot be happy for you. It's weird, or you post your new song on Facebook and everybody else likes it and gives you feedback like, oh my God, congratulations. This sounds so good. Oh, I love it. Or, they don't even have to like it. Just support you. Just be like, yay, and then you hear nothing from Ricky and you told Ricky first. You're like, Ricky is actually my closest friend. Why am I not hearing from Ricky? And then later on you see Ricky and you're like, hey, I posted my song on Facebook. And like, oh, really? I haven't even been on there. I didn't see it. And you're like, yeah, so it's on there right now if you want to listen to it. And like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. Like, seriously, that's not okay. That's not okay to have that kind of person in your life, like in a main place. They can be in your life, but maybe, at some point you may even want to reevaluate that. But they can't be like in a main spot, like one of your closest friends. They can't. Because you've now turned a corner. You've awakened to something bigger than you. You're living for something bigger. You can't afford to be around people that have weird agendas, that don't believe in you, and that basically want to discourage you. Like, why would they even want to be your friend then if they don't want to support you? I totally don't understand that at all. Like, why? I totally don't get it. It's really important to take stock of the people who are in your life and how you feel when you talk to them, because that can really make you not go for it. This whole podcast is about the realities of pursuing your dreams. And so I'm talking about a lot of stuff, a lot of obstacles, a lot of things that are going to come up and make you doubt yourself and make you really, kind of go into a dark place. And like there's that quote that says something like, no tree can reach heaven without the roots reaching hell, or whatever that quote was from Carl Jung. So you're going to go deep. Like there's going to be some dark days, okay? There's going to be some darkness as you go down this path. There's going to be stuff that you're going to be questioning, and you're going to be very challenged. Do you really want people around you that are like supposedly your friend and there's just don't support you at all, and they're just kind of like rude, or just they ignore you, or they act like what you want is maybe stupid or something? Do you really want that in your life? Even if it's subtle, like can you even afford to have that? you're going in a scary place. You're going down a scary corridor with lots of things. And not only just, okay, forget about the bad times. What about the good times? You're going to be so happy and you're going to be celebrating. Where are they going to be? They're going to be somewhere acting annoyed, rolling their eyes at your Instagram post. Why? Why do you want a person like that in your life? And you don't think that's going to affect your energy and how you pursue your dream? Because it is. And that's why you're either going to have a falling out with that person, or they are going to change. They're going to be inspired by you, and they're going to make some changes and go for their dreams. Or you are going to push your dream back down. And you're going to start either hiding your dream until it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, until you're just not even writing songs anymore because you don't feel it. You're not inspired. And you're back to real estate because you need to pay your bills. So the people in our lives are such a huge part of us pursuing our happiness or our calling, or both. And I really want you to take a look at that. Take a look at that. Because this could be part of the refusal of the call, and also the call in general, because it's really, and later on in the hero's journey, there's, the people in our lives that serve us as different functions on the path. Just sort of like in the Wizard of Oz, you had the Tin Man, you had the Lion, you had the Scarecrow. They all served a purpose on Dorothy's path as different energies. And that's the same with the people in our lives. They all help us in different ways. So sometimes by someone being a certain way, it really just helps us. But if a friendship or a relationship that you're spending a lot of energy on is bringing you down and you feel yucky after you spend time with them or talk to them or whatever, listen to that feeling. Listen to that feeling. And one way for me, what's helped me is by journaling And I sound like I'm getting dividends every time somebody else journals, and I wish I could, but I'm just like a total believer of journaling because I don't have a very good memory sometimes, and it helps me because I'll go back. Because that whole repression thing that I do, like as soon as something negative happens, I try to push it down. It happens so fast, I don't even know I'm doing it. And if I journal about everything that happens, when I read back, I go, oh my God, that's right. I can't believe that person did that to me. I can't believe they said that. I remember that. Oh, I can't believe I felt like that. I was really upset. Like, I really do forget, and I distort stuff because I want everything to be pleasant. And that's just bad. That's just not good. I would say journal, and then maybe just pay attention to how you're feeling when you're around certain friends, and then journal about it. And then maybe give it like a few months, and then look back and read some of your journal entries. And you're going to go, oh my God, I totally see a pattern here. Everything's connected. Everything is connected. That weird friendship with that person that doesn't even actually really support you, you don't really need it. You don't need that friendship because I don't really know what that is at that point. It's just some kind of overgrown thing. It's like probably something that should have been removed from your life a long time ago. But you just held on because you thought it was honorable. I did. I held on to friendships. I still do it, but I held on to friendships that should have been kicked out of my life years ago. And I just held on because I like the idea of loyalty. I like being loyal to people. Plus, I just don't like harsh endings. I don't like being like, get out, And so like if it naturally fizzles out, if we don't see each other that much anymore or whatever, I'm okay with that. I don't need it to be a harsh ending. But I think sometimes the universe makes it so it's harsh so that it does really leave our lives. Which leads me to the final thought on friends and people and stuff. When I look back on my life, whenever there was any kind of big change, there was a big shift in my friendships, my key friendships. Some people didn't make the cut, or there was big upheavals. But when you're making a big shift, it's like you're going through a corridor, and some people can't go through that door with you. And it does suck sometimes, and it hurts because you're like, I really wanted that person to come with me, but they can't, and they're not going to. And you need to still go through that doorway because that's your destiny. Your destiny is through that doorway into that next place. But not everybody's going to come with you. And you will, if you notice there's that kind of strife going on or whatever, just think about, know that you're growing. Know that you're growing and be like, you know what? I know what this is. This is me growing. At the end of the day, life is filled with beginnings and endings. And I'm not responsible for preserving or, avoiding endings of every single relationship I have. I'm not responsible for buffering the hurt and yuckiness of life from all the people in my life, from me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not responsible for that. And I do take that on. I'm like, no, I don't want it to be bad. And it's like, you know what? It's going to be whatever it's going to be. I'm going to do the best. I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to focus on gratitude and, try to be kind. And if I falter from my kindness and have a moment of weakness, I'm going to try to change and grow and work on that and apologize. And that's it. And that's all I can do. And so if that's not good enough and that relationship has to end, then I need to be strong enough to say, okay, and open up my hand and let that drift away instead of holding on to so many things, because what I really want to hold on to is my own heart. And I can't do that if I'm holding on to a toxic relationship. It's going to take me down a different road. And it takes me away from my dreams. It takes me away from the things I'm trying to do to grow and to be happy. If you are enjoying the I Have Dreams Dammit podcast, I invite you to rate it and leave a review on the iTunes store. It actually really helps a lot. It lets the people at iTunes know, hey, there's people listening to this podcast and they like it. So then they kind of maybe help put it in the front or, feature it or whatever. And also just lets other people know like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. So some of you have sent me private messages. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're getting something out of it. And if you, feel up to it, I would really appreciate if you would leave a review in iTunes, because then other people can see all your awesomeness as well. And I really thank you. Thank you so much for your positive comments. Do you love going to farm stands and buying fresh from the farm produce? Do you have to pull over on road trips to pet a cow? No? Okay, maybe that last part's just me. Regardless, we can all agree on our love for all things agriculture. And how about art? Don't you love watching films about artists, painters, singers, dancers, musicians? Coming in September is the Ag and Art Film Festival in Vacaville, California, and they are open for entries. So if you have a film, a narrative, a documentary, a short, or a feature, if you're a student or if you're a pro, this is your chance to show your film to the world. And by the world, I mean Vacaville, California. But still, it's going to be awesome. Visit agandartfilmfestival.com for more information, and you can submit your film exclusively on filmfreeway.com. So if you're wondering if somebody in your life might fit the bill of this unsupportive person, I want to give you a couple examples to kind of look for so you can kind of see, because sometimes it's done in a way that you don't see it. You kind of become blind to it because we learn to kind of block that stuff out. But just see if, like, passive aggressiveness, like making a joke about something that's not really funny and has mean-spiritedness about it, and then they'll say, "Oh, I'm just kidding," and it's like, okay. Cutting down a person similar to you trying to do something. So, like, if you want to be an actress and you're like over 40 and your friend knows that that's something you would like to do. So all of a sudden, one day out of the blue, he's like, God, can you believe it? I mean, why do people even try who are over 35? I mean, why would they even try? And he'll make fun of somebody that's in the news. And so it's not really like he's making fun of you, right? Of course, they're going to have that opinion of you. They'll be like, oh, no, but for you, I totally support you. I'm so sorry. No, that's not what I meant. You're like, okay. Another sign that a friend may not be that enthused about your dream is they never ask you about it. Never. So maybe don't always bring it to them if you kind of have a weird feeling about them, or you feel weird about yourself or your dreams after you spend time with them. Maybe the next time you see them or talk to them, don't bring up anything to do with your dream. Don't bring anything up. Like the next 5 times you talk to them and see if they bring it up at all. They never, ever ask you about it, ever. Like, hey, how's that thing? Or if they do, they have a little negative thing like, are you still doing that whole acting thing? Like if they say it like that, it's kind of obvious. But like if they don't even say it at all, they never even bring it up. What is that? What is that? That's like definitely they are avoiding it because they're hoping it probably just goes away. They're hoping you just keep pushing it down and you just stop trying because, they don't see the vision. Another sign, which is kind of connected to that, is never liking or acknowledging your posts on social media that have to do with your dream. Yet they're consistently liking other posts of yours or of your friends, like they have nothing to do with this type of thing. It's almost like they're letting you know by omission, I don't approve of this. I don't stand behind whatever this weird thing is that you're trying to do. That's a huge one, especially nowadays with Facebook and Instagram and stuff. It's like the omission of any support. Like you'll see all these people, oh, congratulations, or oh, that's awesome, good luck, or all this stuff. And where is that friend of yours? Where's that person that you talk to all the time that claims to love you and think you're great? Why aren't they saying anything? And they'll be like, oh, I'm not really into social media. But okay, maybe some people aren't into social media, so don't jump the gun. But if they are posting and liking and commenting on other posts, then that's not the right answer for that because that's not the reason and they're not being very honest and truthful with you. Another thing is if a person talks negatively about you to other people, maybe you hear something, you overhear something, or you just find out somehow. You find out that the person has spoken negatively about you or about your dream, about your pursuit of your dream. That's like a really obvious one, but that's like a major one because it's like, first of all, if they're talking about you negatively to other people, that is, in my opinion, that is not a friend. If someone's my friend, I don't talk negatively about them. Like I might vent because I'm stressed out about something they're doing, but it's comes from a place of love. And I ultimately really just want to understand who they are or what I should do in this situation. And I pick someone very careful and I'm not public about it. I'm very like, I'm just feeling really frustrated right now. This is something that's going on. I don't know. Maybe I don't know everything. Like I kind of frame it and all this sort of stuff. If they're just straight up talking like really negatively about you, that person does not really respect you and they don't really respect your dream. They don't respect what you're doing. And then you're spending time with them. It's not healthy. It's actually a really toxic environment for you. And you could justify it. I know I justify it with some people in my life that were like, well, I don't really see them that often. Okay, that's fine, but just watch it. Just keep them on like a watch list, because don't just go into automatic and go into denial and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm spending time with them. It's fine." Just keep your eye on how you're feeling. And, just remember that all those little remarks and little omissions and little things, they add up, and they really start to make you feel like, "Why am I even friends with this person? Like they don't even act like they like me." They they act annoyed by all the things that I'm actually excited about. Why am I friends with them? And I really think it affects us. And we sometimes we push it down so fast that we don't even give it a name. We don't even know what it is. And then it just becomes part of who we are. And we think we're the ones that don't support ourselves. And then we go, "Oh, I just have a weird feeling about my dream. Yeah, I probably don't want to do it." It's not you, okay? It's this thing that you're feeling coming from someone that you care about, and that you're afraid if you realize that they don't really support you, you won't be able to handle it. And you will be able to handle it. You need to rip that band aid off. You need to look at that person for what they are to you. It's not a judgment call on who they are in life. That's not important. It's who they are to you. How do you feel when you're around them? What does your intuition tell you? And if you don't feel excited and supported by that person and loved, they shouldn't be on your inner circle. They shouldn't be there, because that's weird. Like, there's enough people in the world who are going to judge you and not like you and not understand you. You need people on that innermost circle in your life that know all the things that are really going on with you. You need those people to be your number one supporters. They need to be positive minded people, people that support people for what they're doing. They don't cut other people down. They're not negative. They don't, just blame things in their life on other people. They take responsibility for things that are going on in their lives, and they work on improving themselves. And they put love into the world and goodness, good vibes. That's what you want in your life, and that's what you need in your life. And especially if you're going for your dreams, because you're going to be very vulnerable, and you need that support, and you need to not question things and be looking over your shoulder. And you know what? That's very rare. It's very rare to find people like that, because most people, they're friends with us at the level we're at. But, another thing to consider is that the people in our lives, they're all lessons for us. So it's not like, you're perfect and you have this dream and you're going to be awesome and you just move away from all those annoying people who don't believe in you and, it's perfect. There's no such thing as that. And people in our lives, especially family or just someone that we've been friends with for a long time, of course they're going to be flawed. And there's a lot of karmic lessons going on. There's reasons why we attracted that type of scenario into our lives, or that type of person. I've lived in various different cities, and I've had to start over in different jobs and stuff. And I'm always amazed at how many like versions of friends I have in each city that are like the same. They fulfill the same role. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever like moved away from your town, from where you grew up in? And have you ever had like a recreation of that person? Like, this is my, like when I was at Paramount, my friend Michael B, who's on the bulletin board on the show art, Michael B was sort of a combination of two of my friends that I've known for a long time. And it was great to have him in person. But, and the good parts of that was it was awesome. It was a combo of like my favorite parts of them. But then there were also a couple things about that were, challenges of being friends with them that also showed through with him. And it wasn't really much of a challenge to have a friendship with him, because he was really awesome. And so were the other two people he reminded me of. But, the life lessons of that relationship and what you need to be mindful of was present. So I do think people, we are lessons for each other, and no one's perfect. If we were perfect, we probably wouldn't need to be here. We wouldn't need to incarnate into this life. We're here to learn. It's the classroom. And, I'm not saying you should kick people to the curb and, you're so perfect and all that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you can't have dreams. You can't talk about dreams and bettering yourself and taking responsibility for your actions and for your life if you're around people who don't do that and who are toxic, because it's like an environment where, nothing good can grow in, soil that is, has toxic waste poured on it. You can't have anything grow. There's going to be nothing of any value that's going to grow out of that land. So that's kind of what it is. That air, that's your environment. That's your dream environment. And if you're always around really toxic people, if you can't escape them, then I say journal and come up with a plan and be very aware of what you're moving towards, what you want to move towards. But if you can escape them, if you're in a situation where you can stop being friends with them, especially if they're very toxic, you should, because eventually it's going to happen anyways. Something's going to happen and it's going to all fall apart or blow up in your face. I mean, that's just my experience. We can deny it as long as we can deny it, but as we go along, eventually, if we don't deal with something, it'll make itself known somehow, one way or the other. So if we're proactive about it, and if we're aware of it, and we're like, at least we're ready for something crazy, we're like, okay, but you're never really totally ready for a friendship to fall apart, really. It's hurtful because I mean, if you're like me, you want to stay friends with people. You want things to be positive. You want it to be a good experience in life. But not everybody can come with us to the next place we're going, and not everybody's meant to be in our lives our whole lives. That's just a fact. And some people are just for like a period of time. They're just meant to be in our lives for whatever reason. And some people are meant to be in our lives for a long time. And it just doesn't, I don't know what determines all that. If we've reached an end in our karmic agreement or if our paths are going in different directions. But I try to send people love when it does happen. Sometimes if I'm mad, like if I've been hurt by the person or if it was handled very messily, then yeah, that's more of a challenge to do that. But I really work on that. And I picture like love and light coming down into their lives and that whatever's going on with them gets healed and whatever goes on with me gets healed. And I thank them. I try to focus on the gratitude of what they brought my life. And, if our paths cross again in the future, so be it. But it's one of my personal challenges is to let go. It's a very hard thing for me to do. And I'm always envious of people who can let things go really easily. Like there's like, they get rid of a sweater or they sell something. I don't know. I'm just not that type of person. I'm like, I hold on to stuff. I think maybe because my parents divorced at a certain age and like, I just felt like I was always trying to hold on to something and find, like, because there was so much chaos after they got divorced. It was so chaotic. It was so like unstable that it was like, I looked for that stability. And so I created it. Sometimes I think I create it through holding on to friendships or living situations or jobs or whatever longer than what I should because I'm very uncomfortable with letting that go. It feels like I'm letting go of a guardrail. But you have to let go. You have to let go to move forward. And if you don't actually let go, sometimes things will happen that'll force you to let go. Another sign that someone in our lives is toxic or not really good for us with our dreams and stuff is that you feel like you can't talk to them about any of this stuff. Like if you were to say, yesterday when you said nobody over 35 should be an actor, that really bothered me because, I'm 42 and I'm about ready to start acting and it felt really uncomfortable. Like just the thought of having that conversation with that person makes you feel very uncomfortable. That's sort of a sign that they're probably not the supportive person that you hope they would be in your life because you should be able to have those conversations. Because sometimes people just say stuff and they don't really realize that they say it. Like it happens to me because I get all animated and I like to tell stories and sometimes I forget. And sometimes I'm insensitive in my storytelling or something. And then I realize, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. I can't believe I said that. But, sometimes I need someone to bring it to my attention. But so give people the benefit of the doubt. But also, we're talking about what is it, an unsupportive friend? What does it look like? That could be one thing, just you're dreading thinking about talking to them. And then also the final thing on my list, but there's many more. And if you have any you'd like to share with me, you can send me an email at ihavedreamsdammit@gmail.com. But another thing would be that you actually don't care about your dream when you're with them. Over a period of time, you start to not even really care about the things that you care so much about normally. That's like a sign, too. That's kind of bad. It's not good, right? Okay, so now that we've talked about that, I want to talk about what does it feel like to have support? What is a supportive friendship? A supportive friend is someone that you can go to coffee with and talk for hours and hours and hours and you don't even realize what time it is. And when you leave, you are so excited about your life and your dream. And they are so supportive of you and you are so supportive of them. And you just feel like they don't judge you at all and they get it and they know that life is messy, life is hard and everyone makes mistakes and we're all just trying to figure it out. Like you just don't feel judged by them. You feel like they know that you're human because they know that they're human. And that's ultimately for me, that's all I really need for support. I don't need them to be like, any other thing. I don't even care. As long as they're just respectful and I feel it and it's genuine. It'd be awesome. Like the higher level of that would be if they're actually really excited about it. That's a possibility also. I just think, we can't expect people to be naturally, like I've said in one of my other podcasts, that the people in our lives are not always our audience. So they might love you, but they might not be the audience for your whatever your dream is. So I have a lot of people in my life who love me and support me, but I don't think they listen to my podcast, and I'm okay with that. It's okay. I don't need them to listen to my podcast. I Everything I say to them is my podcast. Every time we go have coffee or hang out, it's the podcast for me with them. But it's I don't need them to do all that kind of stuff, so it's not like I'm asking them to be that level of support. But I do have friends that I spend a lot of time with who do listen to every single one of my podcasts and they give me feedback and they go, "Oh, I really like that one. I like how you brought up this one thing. I like how you brought it back around." And oh my God, that's like incredibly valuable as well, obviously. But I don't expect it on that level. I know that that's like very special and very unique. But what I do like or expect or need or whatever is just a basic respect and like just a good feeling about another person, like, that they're on the path too. I love that. That's such a good feeling. And that, just when I'm done spending time with them or whatever, I feel like if there's any kind of problem, they've let me know. They don't talk behind my back. They let me know so that I can work it out with them. So there's no weird feelings of anything that's being said that's not being said to me. I don't feel that when I'm around them. And they ask me about, "Hey, how's it going? How's the film festival? How's the podcast?" That's what a friendship is that you take interest in what the other person is doing. You take interest in the things that they're interested in. Of course, you're going to ask those questions. Doesn't mean you have to go deep. Like I said, that's like a rare thing, but you at least ask about it. So if the person never asks you about it, that's weird. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not here to like be like, the only people that should be friends with us are people that support our dreams. That's not what I'm saying. That would be weird. I don't think that's life. But I'm just saying in the key main areas of our lives, it should be those people, those top people that really support us. If you want to know how you can support a friend who has a dream or who's going for something that they want in their lives, I think just asking them how it's going and being genuinely interested because you care about your friend's happiness. Just being like, "Hey, how's that book coming along? Oh, really? What do you mean? Oh, you're having writer's block? Oh, wow. That must be hard." And then really, try to engage from a real place in your heart. Really take a minute. If you really genuinely care about that person, you really should take an interest in something that they find very important. That seems very basic to me, but apparently it's not as basic as you would think. It's not as common knowledge as you think. So just take an interest in what they are doing and ask them about it. And then maybe say, "Is there anything I can do to help you? Like, is there anything, or if you could ever think of anything that I could do to help you, let me know." Or if there is something, if they say, "Yeah, I'm dying because it's like, I'm not an editor." And you happen to know an editor. "Wait a minute, I know an editor. I went to college with an editor. Let me try to give her a call and see if she's available. Would you be interested in meeting with her?" Like, just that. That's it. That's all you have to do. Just don't judge them. Even if you think what they want to do is crazy, it doesn't matter. You're not the person that needs to make that decision. Just be loving and supportive and interested and genuinely interested. I'm not talking about being fake. I'm talking about genuinely interested because you're like, "Wow, you're my friend. I love you. I love spending time with you. You're awesome. And this is the thing you want to do. This is incredible." And if you don't understand it, maybe ask them. Be like, "Why do you want to do this again? I don't understand. I just don't get it." But anyways, that's what I would say. I hope you got something out of today's show. I'm going to be getting a little bit more in depth into the hero's journey, and I'm going to talk to you about the whole circle and all the stages and all the different stuff because if you're like me, I'm a very visual person. I'm visceral, like I feel things, but I'm also visual. And so once I saw the circle and like all the different obstacles and the different parts of it, that really helped me of the hero's journey. And then also when they compare those parts to popular movies, then I can go, oh yeah, I can see that. And then I do that for myself, and I think, where am I on this journey with this? And I could, visualize where I was because of the movie examples and whatnot. So I want to give that to you as well, and that'll be on the website on the show notes. I'm actually going to put the hero's journey circle thing of the journey and the stages. I'm going to put that on the show notes for today's show, and just take a look at that. And I'll put a couple more things on there. I think I have a video when I went live on Facebook in the private Facebook group where I discussed the hero's journey, and I have that on there as well. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, go ahead over to ihavedreamsdammit.com, and then go to the episodes on the right. On the top right, there's episodes. Go down to show number 7. That's today's show. And on there will be the video that I'm talking about. And it's just a little bit more information for you, which I think hopefully will be helpful. So go ahead and try that. If you are enjoying the podcast, will you do me a huge favor? Will you go over to iTunes and rate it and leave a review? It means a lot. It's really important. It has to do with how you come up in the search rankings and all that kind of stuff. It lets the people at iTunes know, hey, this is a podcast that's going on over here, man. You probably should pay attention to it. So I really appreciate the reviews that are already there. Thank you so much. So if you wouldn't mind, also sharing the podcast, you can share it on whatever you listen to. If you listen to it on SoundCloud or Stitcher or iTunes, whatever, you can share it from whatever. And I really appreciate it. If you know someone that's pursuing something and you think they would get something out of this podcast, I appreciate that. Thank you. And then also don't forget to rate and review on iTunes, because that means so much. Today's show was brought to you by the Ag and Art Film Festival. For more information or for information to submit your film, you can find it on agandartfilmfestival.com. Special thanks to Dapo Torimiro for the music that's made exclusively for the I Have Dreams Dammit podcast. Thank you.